jungle known as Tiger Talks Wrestling, live from Muskegon, Michigan.
Hello, everybody, and as you heard from Busted Boy himself, welcome to Tiger Talks Wrestling. I am, of course, your host, Tony, and that is a brand new intro for the show. If you guys are interested in creating your own version for me to use, feel free to DM me on Twitter, and we can get something going. Now, as for the show, apparently Marc Williams thought this started at 8 o'clock. We went a little earlier than that, but...
What is he thinking?
Yeah, right? Can't interfere with SmackDown, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But with that, of course, my guest today is the reigning, defending, undisputed 406-day and counting BCW World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Bulletproof himself, Jason Page. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man.
I just want to say first, before we get started, I already said to you, the scenery might look familiar. This is not my room. This is Marc Williams' room. He's got a Mac that I needed to use. So before I get it started, I found this. So he's gonna give me a nice little big fax, and we'll get started right now.
All right. He's in there, says, "Why, all caps, why are you at my house, Jason? I'm at work taking a shit, and this is what happens. How do you even figure out how to work the computer?"
Yeah, it took me a little bit to figure out how to use it, but Mark, you knew I was coming. I told you I was coming, so don't act like it's a surprise.
Who would expect anything different from him, though?
Yeah, actually. When I came here, the Wi-Fi was down, so I had to figure out how to hook the Wi-Fi up. I had to change my Facebook password because I haven't logged in quite some time. And then I had to figure out how to do Google Hangouts. But I figured everything out. Now here we are.
Yep, here we are. A couple minutes late because of that, but we got it figured out, and not too bad anyway. So
yeah, it could have been worse.
Very true. I've had it very worse for other guys, so.
Right, yeah, I bet.
All right. Let's just jump right in. First question I'm going to hit you with, what first got you interested in wrestling?
I watched wrestling since I was probably 4 years old. I actually wasn't like... I got introduced to BCW late. I never knew they were doing it when it was like Mark and Matt Cavey hanging the fort down.
Right.
But as far as being a fan of wrestling, I started watching it. We had a PlayStation 1, and we would play like some wrestling game. It was like a bunch of games in one, and it was you could be Triple H or Shawn Michaels. And I saw Shawn Michaels, doing a bunch of chops. So I'm like, oh, might be something I'll look into. I like fucking around, wrestling. So ever since then, dude, I've tried watching it or tried to stop watching it. But honestly, I can't because I just get hooked right back into it.
I hear you. That's definitely can relate to that one.
Right.
All right. So how did you come across BCW then, and what got you into BCW?
Oh, well, again, I had no idea that they were doing it.
Right.
One day, we would record at Mark's house. We did up until now we drive 3 hours to Coloma. But we were swimming one day, and he kind of beat around the bush with me, saying, at first he was like, oh, dude, we should start like our own like wrestling show on YouTube. And I was like, oh, dude, that'd be freaking sweet. Like, you and I both love wrestling. And he was like, oh, well, I kind of already have a wrestling show on YouTube. And I'm like, well, then let me join. What are you waiting for? So as far as the name goes, which I'm sure will probably get brought up a little later, yes, I did shave the stash. It was getting a little dirty on me. He beat around the bush, and then just flat out told me, we've been doing it for like a couple weeks, couple months or whatever. And I was like, dude, like, I don't know why he waited to inform me about it, because I would have been down from the word wrestling.
Right.
So, yeah, that's how I got introduced into it. And ever since then, we've had a bunch of scandals, a lot of hiatuses, which I'm sure will get brought up.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, we'll get to those in a minute, I suppose.
That we will. So when we first seen you in BCW, you of course were going by Eric Reigns.
Right.
What was behind the name of Eric Reigns to be used for that?
Well, when we were in the pool, I came up with my name in 5 minutes. Pretty much, I wanted my name to reflect like my actual being in some sort of way.
Right.
Whether it's incorporating part of my last name or having my first name. So I decided I was going to keep Eric, which I hate my name. I was supposed to be named Cody. There's a big fact for all you guys.
Right.
But yeah, and then I'm pretty sure at that time the Shield was going on. And Mark was like, who's your favorite wrestler? So I'm like, oh, well, I mean, John Cena's always been my favorite, but I'm not going to be some Cena. So I was like, I kind of like that Roman Reigns guy. Fuck that man now. But yeah, that's honestly the honest truth on how I came up with Eric Reigns. Half me, half of who I idolized at the time. And like I said, fuck that man now.
Right. Probably get into that a little bit more later, but Jason Atlas is actually in the chat room, says great stuff from When Worlds Collide from you.
I appreciate it.
Which we'll get into that later as well.
All right.
All right. So we did see you go as Eric Reigns throughout quite a bit of your earlier career. Then we've seen another guy come in that was supposed to be your brother storyline-wise.
Right.
And then at that point is when you pretty much changed over to Jason Page.
Right.
I want to go into a little bit of detail on that whole situation there.
All right. So we'll start with Will Reigns. That would be my brother that we're talking about. No relation at all. We actually played college baseball with each other, and it's one of those. He was one of those guys where you just like you clicked right away.
Yeah.
And like it was weird. Like some of the stuff was honestly freaky. Like we would say something at the same time, like the same way, if that makes sense.
Yep, it does. I know.
Like, yeah, in the March Madness tournament, I think it was like Gonzaga or something, wore warm-ups that said always repping. And we were like, always repping. And like just looked at each other like that was fucking weird. Right. And then on top of it, our coach, he didn't know. Oh yeah. I'm glad I dropped the Reigns thing as well. I would be not taken seriously. But yeah, you can admit it. But so our college coach didn't know that when we would go to away games and we'd have to stay in hotels, we would actually wrestle each other. And that was the perk of being able to choose who you got to stay with room-wise. So after one practice, we came back to the college, or we were going to practice or something, and I did the same thing Mark did. I was like, so Like, what would you do if I told you we had like 900 subscribers on YouTube and we wrestle on a trampoline? And he was like, I would say that's freaking sweet. So I asked him if he wanted to join. He said yes. Shortly found out that he does have a really good spine buster, but that's about the only move that he would go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's when the walkout happened.
Which we'll get into as well. But
Yes.
not jump into it too much yet.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads into the whole Jason Page. You want me to just talk about the walkout now?
Sure, go for it.
All right.
Go
So Mark said that his brother was going to get a couple buddies, probably like 10 or so. I guess that's more than a couple, to watch us wrestle. And they were going to, scream, holler, do what they do. And when we show up, there was about no parking in his yard. And we look in the barn where we used to wrestle, and there's probably like 55-ish people. And
Wow.
yeah, and at the time, I wasn't like, I'm not ready. I was at the stage where I'm not ready for people that I know to come out and watch me wrestle and like know that I'm doing this. Sounds weird because I'm a completely different person now, which I never thought I would be.
Right.
But so we came. Will Raines, he actually refused to get out of the car. So eventually, Mark's a very persuasive person. I finally gave in. First match of the night was Unknown versus who was time, and which is another stupid name that I came up with. So,
Yeah.
So I was in, it was Unknown, Seth Ulysses, and out of kayfabe here. At the time, not anymore, I was Unknown. So we're wrestling, and before the show, Mark told me that they're going to have a huge spot where they just start throwing stuff at him because he was our top heel at the time.
Yeah.
And so, we go out there, we're doing our thing, and, I'm in a nylon suit, okay? So in my mind, I'm flammable. So before I know it, I feel something hit the trampoline, and I look down, and I see sparks just flying at me.
Oh, shit.
Which it was a firecracker.
Right.
So, we made the match as quick as possible because Ulysses and I were both pissed off. So I think he beat me, and then we did some screwy ending to where I took the title back from him. It was dumb. But after I pinned him, I roll over and I look at the people watching us, and a beer bottle came down and hit me between the eyes.
Ooh.
And if the firecracker wasn't enough, that was. So, I went in the back, took the morph suit off. I said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm done. This was not enjoyable for me. I don't enjoy doing this anymore. I pretty much said, fuck you, and I left. And then since I had the courage to leave, everybody else followed. Because, I'm like as good as it fucking gets. So.
Well, in a way, you can say you're the backstage leader, I guess. You can put it for that.
King of the Yard, too.
Yep, that's what Jason has brought up.
Is that the... That's being hosted in this summer, I believe.
Yep, in New York.
Yeah, actually. Mark, Mike, myself, and I think Jacob Riley are all going to be in attendance, I believe. I feel like I gotta bless other companies with my ability. So yeah, we'll be there.
Nice. Well, I was planning on getting on that later too, so we can touch on that.
Okay, well, we got time.
Yep, we got plenty of time. All right. So then I'll ask you more later about what led into the return of BCW after that. But good to know from your side of the story what happened for the walkout to take place.
Right. Yeah. Finally.
Right, because mainly we just got marks.
Yeah, they all chant firecrackers at me, Tony. It's bullshit.
Right. I hear it sometimes. So
yeah,
they know it gets under your skin, so that's why they do it. I'd imagine.
Yeah, I assume so.
All right. Let's go back a little bit. One of the first main things we've seen from you after you debuted in BCW was actually the I Can't Swim match with Marc Williams, and Matt Cabby was kind of involved in it a little bit.
Yes.
What was that experience like for you to do that type of a match?
Well,
if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, when they first said, yes, Jason Atlas, I'll see you there. When he first said, we're gonna do an I Can't Swim match, and I looked at him, I was like, I don't know about you, but I can fucking swim. You're not gonna hold me underwater. Right. So again, it's another thing he persuaded me to doing, and I went through with it. The match itself, that was Summer Bash. I'm pretty sure that was the only match on the card.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
2014.
Yeah. And at the time, go back 2014, we thought, it was the best match that we had ever seen or ever done.
Right.
And, now that we have pro training, we look back at our videos and we're like, wow, like, I can honestly vouch for all of us by saying, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
I can't swim. I did a backflip off the diving board onto Marc Williams, who was perched on a raft.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of overshot it a little bit and like smoked my head on his gut. But I mean, it looks good on the video.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure he did like a swanton bomb on me when I was laying on a raft, and that hurt. That hurt a lot.
I bet.
But yeah, that match, it's definitely a unique one. You can't really argue if it was first one to get thrown into the water, but to take two men who hate each other so much and say they have to get in the pool and hold each other underwater for a count of 5 or 10, maybe. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely something different, something unique. That's what we always try to bring to the table.
Exactly. Of course, you had feud with Marc off and on for pretty much that entire year and ever since. But
right.
But let's move on. What have your theme songs meant to you throughout your career, the different theme songs that you've had, before I get into more matches?
Okay, so theme song, my first one as Eric Reigns was A Warrior's Call by Volbeat. And that pretty much, I kind of like the intensified beginning to a song, and then when the beat dies down and then picks back up, you walk out. For example, like Rollins, it yells "burn it down," and then he comes out.
Right.
I thought that drum in the beginning was sweet. And then it would say, "Let's get ready to rumble," and lyrics like he's the chosen one, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I wanted to be built as. I don't know if Mark is still watching right now, but Mark, I've always been more masculine than you. That's just big facts. You can big fact me on that one.
I knew that one.
So I wanted to be built up as just the powerhouse of BCW. you know, like a Batista, you know, just runs through people.
Right.
Fast forward to Jason Page. I got into a lot of Tech Nine, a lot of rapping, and I felt like the Beast, which is what my theme song is called, pretty much describes how I think of myself. Like when I look at this is Jason talking right now.
Right.
When I see myself and I see other people in BCW, and especially the NWF roster, I claim myself as the Beast. I don't care what H2 says. He thinks he's a beast with a little beast bite, but that's how I portray myself. And whether anybody wants to argue with it, I believe they're senile. You know, the song talks about taking other men's women, and you know, your woman will leave with me and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty much just like a catchy tune that can kind of pump me up. I look for stuff to pump me up to go put on a show, because when I get into the ring, I want people at home and people there to think, shit, Jason Page is coming out. Like, I have to watch, or I'm going to miss something that's worth watching.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these songs are big.
Yeah. Mr. Awesome says Beast really worked for you. Tech Nine is dope.
Mr. Awesome is what he says he is. He is awesome. And I'm glad that we have a consensus that Tech Nine is indeed dope. I appreciate that. He thinks I'm a beast too.
Yep. Mr. Awesome has been a big BCW fan for years, so.
Yeah, and you know, off screen, I thank him, but on screen, he can go fuck himself.
Alrighty then. So why don't you go? We're gonna jump into more Jason Page stuff. So why don't you go into the development from Eric Reigns to Jason Page? What are the differences between the two guys? I guess you can say, because there's definitely differences in move sets and several other things as well.
Right. Well, okay. So, like I said, for like 3 years, Marc Williams was portrayed as our top heel, you know, just a piece of shit. Everybody needs to hate him.
Right.
So when I stepped in for Matt Cavey because he broke his ankle. And I was, at the time, I wasn't the top babyface, but as I kept wrestling, people would say, wow, that kid's chiseled and, you know, yada, yada. So I eventually took over as top babyface, and Eric Reigns pretty much was just trying to be, like I said, that big powerhouse that would run through people. You know, fast forward, Jason Page. I wanted to come out as being strong, you know, being a powerhouse, but at the same time, be able to rip off a, you know, dive over the top rope, or rip off a backflip, or do a sling blade, leave his feet, you know. So actually, being Jason Page, I thought, I hate that guy. So being Jason Page, I thought of 2 athletes that I enjoyed watching, which was, God, I can't remember his first name, but he was a point guard for like North Carolina. So I took Page from his last name, and then I got Jason from another, and I just combined them. And at the time, Mark had a shoulder problem. I think he like pulled or tore something in his shoulder. And he said, I'm not going to be able to wrestle for a little bit. I'm going to need you to take the heel roll for, until I come back.
Right.
So I said, okay, that's fine. I've never done it before, so I'll give it a shot. And what better way to come out and just smoke him in the head with a chair when he finally reunited everybody.
Yeah.
So, Jason Page, like I said, Eric Reigns fought for the fans, fought for, what was right. Jason Page does what it takes to win. And that's where I seen my career just skyrocket. So that's pretty much the difference between both of them.
All right. We'll talk more about Jason Page's career here in a moment.
All right.
First things first. Got a little video that somebody wanted me to show you.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute, these two, we saw this at When Worlds Collide, transitioning it into the Beast Fight.
Again. So getting down.
Jason Page tries to roll that into a pin.
Nope.
But H2, he's got it. And he's got it in deep. Look at how he's wrenching it. He pulls that arm back deeper. Oh my goodness, I've never seen a wrench at that front. But Jason Page submits. Yeah. H2 with the...
Now after that, let's see here. H2 had a little question for you. He'd like to know, how did it feel at Showdown 2 to be nearly broken in half by the Beast Bite before ultimately having to submit?
Tony.
Jason?
I am disgusted that you just played that clip. So, I don't have an excuse for what happened at Showdown 2 besides the simple big fact that the Beast Bite is just boring to sit in. Okay? Clicking.
Yeah.
It's H2 thinks he's entertaining, and H2 thinks that he's got this submission that nobody can get out of. But fun fact, When Worlds Collide 2 might have needed Mark to hit him, but I still got out of it. So it's a submission that doesn't really hurt. It's just boring to sit in.
Okay. I'll leave that for your answer. Mr. Awesome did mention, as I was showing that on screen, Jason, go fuck yourself down to where the association went.
Wow. Yeah, the association's right in the fucking shitter. Wow. I haven't heard association in quite some time.
Yeah. Seen something about them on there recently, too. So, going back into where we were before H2 wanted his little question and answer there.
Yeah, you see what I mean, though, Tony? He's just a guy that tries to soak up everybody else's spotlight. Like this is me and you right now. This is not H2's time, okay? He has no reason to try to put that on me. Like, this is my moment. I'm on Tiger Talks fucking wrestling. The top fucking podcast in BYW. And don't come at me like that, H2. It's bullshit.
And he says you're full of shit, by the way.
Yeah, eat my ass, H2. Cock.
All right. As I let him go into that. So what led into the return of BCW?
Honestly, this will be a short answer. We were bored one day at Mark's house, and we said we wanted BCW to come back. He said he'll think about it. We persuaded him into, bringing it back. And now we're further than we ever thought we would be.
I would agree with that one. don't know how exactly far you guys thought you would be, but you guys made long strides from where you began. That's for sure.
Right.
As we've seen the return of BCW, of course, as you mentioned, you were as Jason Page then, and you would go on to first take out Marc Williams and then go on to win the BCW World Heavyweight Championship. It had a feud with one Mike Miller. What was that time like for you?
Man, when I feuded with Mike Miller, it was a moment where I had to figure out who I truly was as Jason Page. Like I said, working the heel role, working with Seth. He came out and he always urged everyone to cheer him on, and I'd kind of shut people down. Honestly, Mike Miller helped me find out who Jason Page really needs to be. I think I played the heel role because, okay, if you have a heel in a match and the heel's not being a good heel, the audience won't get behind the face.
Sure.
If I go out there and I just wrestle and I'm in control most of the time, nobody's gonna care that somebody's getting beat up, because ultimately somebody has to get beat up and lose.
Right.
So I feel like I did my job well to where now Mike Miller is BCW's top babyface. He also helped me. He played the face role really well. I had his old buddies come and stab him in the back, yeah. But like I said, Jason Page just finds a way to win. I've said it many times. In a first blood match, the only rule is there are no rules. So technically, I won fair.
Yep. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
H2 didn't agree with your answer, apparently. Wow, good one.
Well, I don't agree with God for putting him on this earth, so.
Well then. Speaking of Devgru, we kind of seen a couple guys in and out of that group or faction, if you will, throughout the time once we've seen them they return on BCW programming. So what was that situation like to see the two guys that were here once in a while and not all the time? Of course, Jacob Riley being the only one that was a constant pretty much in Devgru.
Right. Pretty much we try to have a storyline because it was Zeke Johnson, Jacob Riley, Mike Miller. And then once Mike Miller went off on his own, I hired Devgru as my hitman. And Zeke Johnson, we can pretty much, we know who he is as a person. Wasn't worth putting out there to risk an injury to a top-level guy. Chris Wright, I believe that was his name. He only appeared like twice.
Yeah.
He was actually one of my good friends from college baseball, same team Will Raines was on. And I asked him, I was like, what would you say if, we had 900 subscribers, yada, yada. Same role as I did with Will Raines. And he said, I would ask why I haven't been on a show yet. So we brought him in. He lives in Livonia, and Livonia from Toledo is over an hour.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to make the constant trip here. We didn't want to make the constant trip to get him and come back, which we have done a couple times. But once we realized that he wasn't gonna be here all the time, like I said, Zeke Johnson wasn't worth putting out there to risk an injury, because it was Zeke Johnson versus Unknown once, and Unknown gave him a big boot right into the sternum, and he could not breathe. So, yeah, so it actually did mess him up pretty bad. So we decided that we would just roll with my bitch and Jacob Riley doing all my light work while I did what matters.
Right. So after you and Mike had quite the rivalry there, we would see the return of the former BCW champion in The Guardian, who would go on to become the #1 contender and would face you in pretty much a loser leaves BCW match at WrestleVersary 2. What was it like for you leading into that match where it seemed like Guardian was getting the better of you mind games wise and otherwise before the match?
Well, first of all, I think we can all agree that the Guardian has a very unique persona.
True.
The way that he words, everything that he says. He goes to Michigan State, and he's a smart kid, very intelligent. Street smart wise, he needs a little bit of work, but
yeah,
he knows his big words. He knows, whatever. It kind of threw me off because before WrestleVersary, I had turned on Jacob Riley. I realized, he's not worth. He was just weighing on my shoulders that wasn't worth having.
Right.
And so when I finally, dumped him off, he's got his ass kicked against Jack Brown, and I just left him there. He approached me very, very harshly, hurt my shoulder a little bit, and I just decided, enough is enough. Foes. Yeah, they say keep your enemies closer. You know that saying.
Keep your friends close, enemies closer. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And one enemy very, very close, and we all know who that is.
Yes, I do. So,
leading up into WrestleVersary, it kind of panicked me because at the time, we all know that Guardian had Unknown. So anytime Guardian was in trouble, Unknown was going to be there somewhere.
Right.
So literally the day of WrestleVersary, we got to our venue, and I had approached that all too familiar foe and asked if something happens or, I need you to seal the deal. I think we could be something special. What do you say? We put our differences aside. And he agreed. And honestly, it's one of the best decisions I've made in quite some time wrestling-wise.
All right. Of course, being, as we would see, Marc Williams would come in there and help you out, defeat the Guardian in the end of that match.
Yes, sir.
But also leading into that match, we were also waiting to see who your partner would be heading into When Worlds Collide last year, which we would find out, of course, that same night.
Right.
Marc Williams.
Yeah. I like to think of myself as a mastermind. I knew I was going to leave Jacob Riley in the dust, and I knew I had to pick a partner. And when you take the best, being myself, in BCW, and you team me up with another great in BCW, you have practically an unstoppable unit.
Right.
Which motivated me even more to try to get him on my side. Which again, I'm sure we'll get into the When Worlds Collide match.
Yeah, we will.
All right, so I'll save it.
So the question is that I had sent in to ask you, why after all the years of animosity between the two of you, why would you decide to team up with him? Which you kind of answered a little bit here. But
Yeah, like I said, Mark had told me that big event, When Worlds Collide was going on, and I wasn't invited, and I don't know why I wouldn't be. So I made a video and I casted it out there. H2 got his hands on it and challenged me and a partner against the Adrenaline Addicts.
Yep.
So, like I said, when you take two top-level competitors in all of BYW and you put them together, it's going to be pretty hard to stop.
Now let's backtrack just a little bit because we've seen leading into WrestleVersary that Marc Williams had originally retired or did his retirement speech that was interrupted by H2. So what was going through your mind when you had heard that he was announcing his retirement? Was that all part of the plan?
Honestly, because it all started when it was me versus him in an unsanctioned match.
Yep.
And early on, dating all the way back to my Eric Reigns days,
yep.
I always seemed to have the upper hand when it came to one-on-one action. So going all the way back to Jason Page and now at Summer Bash, when I beat him, I think he had thoughts in his head that he might have lost a step, I guess, because after that match he was pretty down, and then he lost a qualifying match to be in the race for the case match,
right?
To Mike Miller, and I think that's really when it cued in on him and he got really down on himself. But actually, after that show, I had gone up to him and I said, look, next week, go out there, do a whole little retirement ceremony, but you cannot leave. And that was me as a person, saying, look, like, you still got it, you just got to find it.
Yeah.
And then we go to WrestleVersary. I had approached him and said, look, I can help you find it, and you can help me stay on top. We need to work something out here. So that's pretty much how it worked out, and I'm glad it did.
Right. Let's move on to When Worlds Collide. If you want to talk anything about things that happened leading up to the show, feel more than free to do so. Because originally, of course, we know that wasn't the set main event for the show, but that's up to you if you want to talk about that or you just want to talk about the main event match that we did see.
Well, there's a lot to talk about it, but I'll pick a few things out. Leading up, like you said, it wasn't the set main event. I believe it was going to be Cameron versus Mark.
Yep.
And I seen it from a mile away. We've all been there. We've all talked about how, East Coast this, East Coast that. None of that stuff, I don't care about it anymore, okay? I'm trying to make amends with people rather than hold grudges. But like I said, at the time, I seen it from a mile away. And honest to God, I believe, I said in one of my promos on a probably like 3-4 episodes ago on BCW, I said, or no, it might have been during I think it was during my celebration for holding the belt for 1 year.
Yep.
1 year plus, which is how many days now?
406 days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
H2 would be nowhere if us BCW guys had not shown up to his event. Because honesty, put right in front of your face. You have NWF, which had about 70 subscribers at the time, and you had Mikey's company, HCW, maybe.
Sure.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I had a couple different names for my favorite. So.
Yeah, so you got Mikey's company. You don't even know, like, big fans like yourself, Tony. You don't even know the name of where he was wrestling. And then you got
right,
and then you got BCW, which is, not subscribers. So you can really tell, and it's no coincidence that after When Worlds Collide aired, NWF's subscribers had skyrocketed.
Sure.
Because I believe solely because guys like Mark and I showed up, and I put on a pretty good main event. I think some things could have been better, but I thought it was great nonetheless. I still think the finish of the match was bullshit. I think H2 did pay a referee off because clearly you cannot deny, and you can't deny, but he's going to deny all day that my shoulders rolled over and kipped up on the count of 2.
Yeah, it was kind of a screwy finish. I'll give you that much.
And we're going again. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yep, we'll get into that. Don't worry.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll say the main event match was a pretty good match. I'm expecting even better second time around.
You will, believe me.
I'm sure. I've been told. But I will say one of the highlights, I don't have it pulled up, but one of the highlights of the match from When Worlds Collide was actually your dive outside of the ring from the inside out onto the other guys. So I'll give you props on that one. That was a very good spot.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had that was my first time being in an actual ring, so I had little faith that I might be able to do that. But now I know, so I'm very comfortable doing stuff like that.
Right. I want to get into that a little bit here in a minute. Mr. Awesome says, if it's bullshit the way that match ended, do something about it this year, motherfucker.
Oh, dude. Believe me. Mark and I, we're going to take, and with Father Time in our corner, we're going to take no prisoners. We will make sure that BCW comes out on top. Like you said, we'll get into When Worlds Collide too, so I'll wait.
Exactly. All right. So what was the biggest differences that you would say going from being on the trampoline at Mark's to being in a ring for the first time when you guys traveled to Coloma for When Worlds Collide, and ever since then, obviously?
Number one thing, taking bumps.
Right.
I cannot stress, how important it is to tuck your chin. In the When Worlds Collide match, I had H2 sitting in the corner, and I did like the Jeff Hardy where he flings himself up and then comes down and kicks him.
Yep.
Yeah, on that kick, I actually smoked the back of my head. So I stood there for a little bit, kind of dazed, but luckily I recuperated quickly. But honestly, taking bumps, you never – on a trampoline, there's no ropes.
Right.
So on a trampoline, it's whatever, you're just messing around, which I believe if there's any backyard, company out there, I don't really declare us as backyard. If I say we're in BYW, so be it. But the word backyard just doesn't fit anymore because we have our own venue.
Yeah.
I believe if you're still in the backyard and you don't have a ring and you're still on a trampoline, you are not legit by any means. I don't care who's in your company. But there's technique running the ropes, I feel like the athleticism that I was still able to pull out in When Worlds Collide for being in the ring for the first time and taking very little bumps before our match, I thought I fared pretty well. But
I would agree.
Thank you. Honestly, the biggest change is the bumps, because you on a trampoline, you land how you want. It doesn't matter.
Right. In the ring, it does, because that's gonna hurt.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah. No, I would say for it being yours and Mark's first time, I actually want to get a story from you. I got Mark leading into that show in a minute, but for the first time for you two guys getting into a ring, I thought you guys both did well. So I didn't think you could really tell throughout most of the match that it was the first time in there.
I appreciate it.
So leading into that, I've actually heard, I want to get your side of the story from this. Actually heard that Mark was thinking of not going to the show because he was injured, I believe, at the time.
Yes.
And you actually talked him into it, I believe I heard?
Yes, sir. So breaking kayfabe here. Mark and I've been best friends with that dude since I was probably 5, 7 maybe. I know the dude like the back of my hand. He actually that night he went to his girlfriend's, I believe, and we were gonna stay at his house and wake up together and go up there. And he ended up staying there till like 2 a.m. or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we all went to Jacob Riley's house, and when we woke up the next morning, we looked in the front yard, and Mark was asleep in his car. So he was dealing with a lower back issue. He hurt it weightlifting.
Yeah.
So when we were getting ready to leave, he said, look, I don't know if I'm gonna wrestle because I don't want to hurt my back anymore. And I looked at him. I said, well, bring your gear. And he said, well, I don't want to if I'm not gonna wrestle. It's just shit that I gotta carry that I don't want to. I said, dude, bring your gear. I was like, I know you better than anybody. Once you see that ring, you're going to wrestle. So he was in denial. I brought his gear in the car. And once he saw the ring, his eyes lit up. He took a bump. He said he felt fine. And he said, dude, I'm wrestling. So Mark can thank me personally.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did talk him into it because he's dealing with a back issue.
Good to know hear that side of the story anyways. Like I said, I've heard a little bit of it, but
yeah,
the whole thing. As we moved on from When Worlds Collide, we've seen the two companies, BCW and NWF, kind of work together. But the next time we would see BCW, your feud would be with Jacob Riley, who would return after getting destroyed by you pretty much beforehand.
Right.
What was that brief feud like for you to be in there with Jacob?
Well, I trained Jacob. I taught him almost everything he knows, probably 95% of what he knows. 5% being how to be Jacob Riley. I can't do that for him, but I can show him moves to do. I can teach him ring IQ, etc. He attacked me when I was supporting Mark in a match. He had pulled me off the apron and hit me with a twisted transistor on the side of the ring.
Right.
When that happened, I had called CTS and said, Jacob Riley's a waste of my time. I don't want anything wrong with him. I'll give him one match and one match only at Wasteland. And if he can't come through and beat me and tarnish my title reign, I don't want to keep going with him. So he brought it up to Jacob Riley first. He didn't want to throw Jacob Riley into a shitty situation. And Jacob Riley said, I know I'm going to beat him. So he made the match, one match only. And then it was time to move on. But I really believe that Jason Page versus Jacob Riley is arguably the best main event that we've had.
Wow. That's something big to say, but it'd be hard to argue with that because I thought you two did a very good job on that show. So
yeah,
that
was the first time I've had a bunch of people message me saying, "Holy shit!" Like I thought the match could have gone either way. I really didn't see you coming out winning after that. So.
Sorry. I was just reading what Mr. Austin posted. He says, you beat Riley down. Guardian nearly and quite possibly raped him, and Miller dropped him before that. Hashtag Riley Lives Matter.
Yeah, I know Mr. Awesome really enjoyed that match. He said Riley and I had stolen the show. But yeah, I think just the story and the ring pace and moments were really what set that match aside from all the others.
Right. So, in your words, what do you think Father Time brings to to you guys now that he's a part of the group as well?
If I could put it into 2 words, undeniable dominance. There's not many people, especially in NWF and BCW too, that match up height-wise. Father Time, not a lot of people might have been able to see it, but he's got a pretty high motor. He's a reliable. I like to think that I'll take care of what matters. The championship matches and so on. I'll keep the gold with the American Outlaws. He's the perfect guy to take care of my light work. And I like to think of it as it's a way for him to prove himself in BCW. Because who knows, we could get him on a universal title run if he really proves himself. So,
right.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty dominant guy. And another key word is reliable. He's really reliable.
Right. I would say he's been quite impressive for a big guy in a couple matches that we have seen him in BCW so far. So.
Yeah, there was one match on NWF, I believe. Yeah, it was Showdown. It was Mark and Father Time and Wicked, the Drugalo Carney.
Yep.
Mark and Father Time actually started butting heads after the match, and I had met them backstage, and to be honest, I smacked the shit out of Father Time. And I know Father Time's probably watching right now, and he knows as well as everybody else. Mark and I have established ourselves greatly. You're just now trying to show people who you are. Do not challenge us in a type of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Trust in us. Don't try to think you're bigger and better when you're not yet.
Well, here's a comment from somebody that we know quite well, Kyle, the ring announcer.
The punk bitch ring announcer?
Sure, your words, not mine.
What did that pudgy goofball say?
You just want someone big to bail you out when you're scared. Hashtag Father Time can do better.
I mean, someone big. I mean, height-wise, yeah, he's taller than me, but I think I have the most masculine build. So, I mean, personally, I'm not scared. I've proved time and time again that I can run through someone, knock them down, kick them aside, and it's on to the next one. But why would I continue to do that if I have someone like Father Time who can take care of my stuff for me? And if he thinks I'm in trouble, he's, like I said, reliable to not bail me out, but help me.
All right. So we've seen you guys show up a little bit on NWF Adrenaline recently, and one point I want to bring up is most recent one of the more recent ones, seen you guys actually show up and help Extreme Luchador win the NWF World Championship. What was what led to that happening, I guess, is the way you put it?
Well, first of all, okay, there's no secret that I believe, this isn't related to the question, but it kind of is. I believe that athleticism to be put on display I believe nobody matches up to me. I believe I invest in myself, honestly. I believe that people can't do what I can do, and if they can, I can do it better. That's my honest opinion. So athleticism wise, I would say Tommy Zachary would be one of the would be the person that comes closest to matching up with me. But again, he does. So Extreme had said, if I need help tonight, will you guys help me out? It's against Tommy Zachary. I'll chip in some money. So who's gonna turn down money? Am I right?
Yeah, you got a point.
Yeah. So it was all practically a bribe, and honestly, I'm happy that we had done that because look at Tommy Zachary now. He is on the shelf.
Yes. Which brings me to another person who's permanently on the shelf, AJ Gagliardo. What was your opinion when you seen he had given up the strap and was retiring?
Thank God. I mean, AJ, who cares? He wasn't. It is kind of a shame because with us BCW guys coming to When Worlds Collide, it was Adrenaline Addicts versus American Outlaws.
Indeed.
AJ had only that match to prove himself. And after that match, he said he came down on his knee wrong, and it hurts him a lot. And I think his ovaries hurt. But I think he's being a bitch about the whole thing. I think, honestly, you ice it up, you rest it, you rehab it, you get back out there. But other than that, AJ never really had a chance to prove himself. So who really cares? Because I know I don't.
All right. So then from there, we'll move into the most recent thing that we've seen you going through. As BCW's return, we've seen you in a little feud with the aforementioned H2, who you talked to CTS and was supposed to have banned from the arena. However, he's shown up both episodes of BCW Warzone since then.
Yeah. I don't know what is confusing about ban this man from BCW. H2, I like to think of him as my number one fan. He's always trying to incorporate himself in my life somehow, some way, whether it's trying to start feud with me, whether it's trying to, whatever. But, guy, come on. Respect rules, okay? Like I said, and when I say this, people say it over and over again. You don't respect rules. Myself as a competitor, I respect rules. Like I said, first blood match, there's no rules. When I beat Mike Miller for the strap, I didn't break any rules. But when you're banned from somewhere, don't fucking show up. And then you saw Marc Williams tweet, correct, about CTS concerning H2? Yeah. Would you like to make the announcement for the viewers watching?
For anybody who may not have seen, we will be seeing, I'm assuming you're mentioning this one, we will be seeing H2 versus you, Jason Page, at Last Man Standing in a Last Man Standing match.
Yeah. And tell me that's not bullshit, okay? This guy, CTS runs BCW. He puts the matches out there and expects the best out of us. How are you going to let this 5'2", 300-pound troll invade when I say he should be banned? I've been champ for how long?
406 days.
406 days. Big facts, Tony.
Indeed.
You got to respect what the person on the top of the mountain says. Okay, in my opinion, it's complete bullshit that I have to go through H2 to retain my title. We all know I'm going to beat him. H2 has never – the only time he beat me cleanly was when we were at Showdown 2 and I got bored in a submission. So I just said, okay, this is dumb. It's not even for my belt, so why do I care being here? So I just decided it's a good time to go home. And then I decided to just lay down on the mat after I got bored. So it's complete bullshit that I got to go through H2 again.
Right. I will say this: the Beast Bite, in a way, could come to help him win the match, but it won't be exactly the same way. As obviously in a last minute standing match, you have to keep your opponent down for the 10 count.
Yes, sir.
Broken in half in the submission, H2 mentions.
Broken in half in the submission.
In the Beast Bite.
There wasn't anything broken. The only thing that was broken was my concentration because I got bored.
Fair enough. See what else he's got to say about that. But yeah, so the Beast Bite in a way could help him, but it won't be a tap-out victory, obviously, this time. As I mentioned, two of you are going to go to war, and whoever can manage to keep their opponent down for the 10 count is going to be the one that takes home that BCW World Championship.
Correct. And mark my words, Tony, it's going to be me walking away with the strap.
To which your 409 days obviously is very impressive. You don't see guys hold a championship for that long. I'm sure H2 would be more than happy to mention that he was 999-day champion in NWF.
Want to get me started on that, Tony?
Go for it.
999. If you put me in NWF, I will hold that title until the day I die. Okay, you got people like Tommy Zachary, okay? Mid-match, he's going to tear something, apparently, because he's fragile. That's a win. You got people like AJ Gargle on Cheerios. Mid-match, he's going to tear something because I guess he's fragile too. And then you got guys like Extreme. Extreme had to hire guys like me and Mark to go do his dirty work for him. We wouldn't have if he didn't offer money. By the way. And then who else? Demon Isaac Warren. Isaac Warren is a nobody in my opinion. I don't care about him. H2 had it made, okay? H2, all he had to do is go out, wrestle a mediocre match against whoever it might have been, and then he has nothing to worry about. Oh, and Nate Not So Great Johnson. That's another one. He's a real top-level competitor, let me tell you. In BCW, I had to go through Marc Williams. Well, I had to. Mike Miller, who is another top competitor. Jacob Riley, who showed so many signs of improvement. And we just have so much better competition. So for me to be holding the belt for 400-plus days is an actual accomplishment. Not $9.99 like Mr. H2 or Mr. 4. He's still holding the belt, 400 something, Mikey Nitro. They don't have the bragging rights that I do.
Right. Well, H2 says, sit in that submission of the Beast Bite for 10 more seconds and your head would have touched your ankles.
Joke's on you, H2. I'm very flexible and my head can touch my ankles anyways. So that would not have affected me.
There you go. Since you brought up Mikey Nitro, we have seen him, the Wicked Carney as mentioned earlier, Jack Brown, and a few others debut in BCW recently. What do you think of all these different guys that are showing up in BCW?
Well, I mean...
Do it, H2 says.
Just because he wants me to do it now, I'm not going to, because he doesn't deserve to have any satisfaction in his life. Anyways, Mikey Nitro, I believe is very impressive. Yeah, he's held his belt for 400-some days as well. But like I said, he doesn't have the bragging rights that I do because he doesn't have to go through competition like I do.
It's true.
I like that T-shirt, by the way, Tony.
Thanks.
So, anyways, Wicked Carney is Wicked Carney. We butt heads sometimes, but Wicked Carney is a really good talent, in my opinion. Not better than me by any means, but he is good nonetheless. Jack Brown shows. I think he really came out with a bang. I think you can agree on that.
Definitely.
Body-wise, appearance-wise, I think he matches up pretty well to me, masculine-wise. I think Jack Brown just has to figure out his role in BCW, and as long as he does that, I hope he knows. I don't know if he's watching now. I really don't care. I hope you know, Jack Brown, that you don't match up to me. That I just don't want him to make a mistake and try to jump at the guy at the top of the mountain just to be pushed back off to the bottom. I would rather him hike his way up there and he would still get pushed back down, but at least he made an effort.
Right. Mr. Awesome says, so if you could hold the title in NWF till you die, what would Special Jack's streak look like there?
I think Mr. Awesome has a low-key fetish with Special Jack.
Perhaps.
But, well, if I was in NWF, actually, I was the one that broke Special Jack's little undefeated streak. I believe like the second BCW when we came back. Jack's streak would have died, but I would still hold the belt till I die if I was in NWF regardless.
Okay. By the way, speaking of shirts, you mentioned that earlier. I got to say thank you to you and Mark for helping Extreme Luchador win that match, too, because at some point, you'll be seeing me wearing an Extreme Luchador shirt now on the show for a month.
Oh, wow. Welcome. I'm glad we could make you represent someone.
Sure. No, that was my bad, because I did mention that. Here's a little plug from Marc Williams. Last Man Standing live this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Jason Page versus H2 in the main event. Last Man Standing for the BCW Championship.
Yep, that is going to happen, but it's bullshit that it's going to happen. But nonetheless, I'm gonna win, so it doesn't matter.
All right. So we know that's what's going on with BCW. Where do you see yourself going, as we've still obviously seen you at points in NWF as well?
BYW-wise, just NWF?
Just NWF for now. We'll get into the rest.
Well, NWF, like I said, I could run through everybody. It doesn't matter who. I just don't have the urge to, because when we got a powerhouse of a company like BCW, why waste my time in NWF? Risk possible injury of some sort, and then I can't come compete where it matters and be BCW. So as far as NWF goes, until they get about 900 more subscribers, then I'll be making my way over there, and I'll knock everybody off that I need to.
Fair enough. Which kind of leads me into another fact I want to mention, which is going to lead into our next subject. There was a couple months ago, I had gotten a rumor and mentioned it on here that BCW and NWF were actually going to merge, which was, of course, denied by Marc Williams afterwards. But it does lead into the next point I was going to make. We did hear, after you guys helped Extreme Luchador win the NWF World Championship, H2 came in for the save for Tommy Zachary after the match. He issued a challenge, which you guys did eventually accept under certain circumstances. We will see a rematch of sorts at When Worlds Collide 2. This time it won't be, of course, AJ won't be in H2's corner. It'll be H2 and Tommy Zachary this time against the American Outlaws, where the losing team's brand will go out of business.
As far as that match goes, yes, that is the stipulation. I know you'll be there, correct?
We'll be there.
All right. Yes, it is stipulation. Losing team has to give everything up. Everybody's out of a job. As far as merging goes, I can tell you this right now. If somehow H2 and Tommy Zachary pull off a miracle, I will not by any means have any interest in continuously going to Coloma to be on a show like NWF. I know Mark feels the same way. I know Father Tom feels the same way. And if us three aren't going to go, us three, the best in BYW, I know the others aren't going to go. So as far as a merge goes, no, it's not happening.
All right. And, of course, the other stipulation that you guys made for that match is you guys want to pick the referee for the match after.
Oh, shit. Shit, yes, we do. Yeah, we're picking a damn referee, and it's going to be held up completely to us. We're going to get us a fair referee that'll call it right down the middle.
Fair enough. Mr. Awesome did mention off the Special Jack comment, fetish, nah, it's just big facts.
Mr. Awesome, you can big fact me right now.
All right. Yes, I'll definitely be at One World's Collide too. Looking forward to seeing how that show goes. I've heard rumors of possible people that could be there and looking forward to it. So
right on.
Definitely looking forward to it. So let's go into some crossovers here real quick. You mentioned earlier that a few of you guys from BCW will be heading to King of the Yard in NUW's home territory later this summer. From what it sounds like is when they're going to tape that.
Correct.
Do you see yourself going anywhere else for anything? Expect that experience to be like for that matter as well.
As far as the King of the Yard goes, yeah, we'll be there. I'm sure the event that they're hosting is some big, I want to say tournament.
It is a tournament, yeah.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of good guys that I talked to from that area that are in NUW, like Navon McDonald. He seems really good guy. Still not better than me, but
he still doesn't like the fact that you guys as American Outlaws use the same theme song pretty much that he does.
No, you know what? He copied us. I don't care if he came out with the song before, but just for him, maybe we'll have to make a change. I see us walking out to a nice Tech 9 song like I do when I'm in my solos. But that's besides the point.
Sorry, I just had to mention it.
Well, actually, correct myself. When we came out for our celebration, we did change our song.
You're right, you did.
To No Can Do by Tech 9. Because you can't fuck with us. That's the motto. So Navon McDonald, you're welcome there. As far as a crossover goes, anywhere else, all they got to do is invite us. If you invite me and I got availability, I'm coming. I know scandal of VTW. We all know Cameron Jackson messaged me saying that he'll get me an address. And then it just so happened that he never did. And the reasoning was because if we showed up, we were going to get jumped. Now, I can speak on behalf of everybody in BCW that BCW is the most athletically gifted brand in BYW, in my opinion. So if you send Marc Williams, an all-state football player, and Jason Page, an all-state wrestler, all-state baseball player, and a all-region football player, I like our chances against the VTW roster. Not to shoot all of them down, but I really do like our chances in a real fight. So yeah, as far as going anywhere else, all you gotta do is, hit up my DMs, let me know what's going on, and I'll figure something out.
Fair enough. We're going to kind of jump back a little bit, but what was it like for you the first time that you guys did travel to Coloma once you guys arrived there and seeing the ring and the environment and everything?
Honest to God, Mark had just texted me.
Yeah, I plan on going into that a little bit more later, but we'll get there.
We were making up stories on scenarios, which I failed to mention when I was listing off our little accolades. Mark was also an all-state wrestler, but that's besides the point. Fast forward conversation now.
Yeah.
We were actually saying, like, damn, what if the person that's hosting this is some sort of dominatrix guy? Like, he doesn't really have a ring. He's got, like, shackles waiting for us. So, we didn't know what to expect. They had a group chat, trying to get people for the event. I wasn't in it again. I don't know why, but I didn't know what to expect, if I'm being honest. I didn't know anybody that was going to be there.
Right.
I mean, it was what it was, and I'm really happy that we went. I know H2 is really happy that we went, because without us, he would probably be just working his job and going back home and living his little depressing life. But he has us to thank.
All right. So as we know, you guys are now doing pro training as well.
Yes.
Can you walk us through how that first started and what you guys are going through right now?
So we're getting professionally trained by a man that lived in Coloma. He's now big on the indies. He's a TNA hopeful. He's been invited to Ring of Honor to do a dark match, and he said he's going to bring us with him. Pretty much, he had said, Mr. Awesome. The dominatrix versus Mr. Bulletproof. Man, that just made me lose my train of thought. Professionally trained.
Yep.
We went to a show in South Bend, which is EHF, and before their show had taken place, we went to a seminar that was hosted by Ames, who's training us, and he would have us take bumps, run international, do everything that you see on TV pretty much.
Right.
And it was just bump after bump after bump after bump. Well, that show, we ended up getting a crowd spot. Someone picked him up and threw him into the crowd to land on us. Everybody thought it was legit, like they didn't know us, and we were just big fans of him. So we ended up going to, we work EHF PWK as of right now. Just consistent training before shows start. We're getting booked, which is a good thing. We've been on main cards. It's honestly, it's a process like none other.
Right.
I tell my family about it, and unless you're a true diehard wrestling fan, you won't understand the process.
Gotcha. All right. So where does that leave where you guys are backyard wrestling or YouTube wrestling wise, do you think?
As of right now, we like to think of doing BCW. It's still a passion to us. It's practically, in a sense, more training, more ring action, more running the ropes, taking bumps. Until we're, as of right now, if you're in training, they classify you as a greenie in the indie. So until we're not greenies anymore, we don't want to get blacklisted or anything. So if they threaten blacklisting, Mark and Jason are going to have to make a big decision, which I think we can all understand which way we would go. But until then, BCW is still going to be thriving.
It's good. Good to hear. I'm going to put you in a little scenario here. I got another topic that we want to touch on, but a new scenario that I do, little hot seat question here. I'm going to give you 3 names. All right, you tell me who, if you were in control of the company, and these 3 guys were part of it, who you would job, who would be jobbing to everybody pretty much on the roster, who you would fire, and who you would push.
Okay.
Now, these 3 names I'll actually tell you actually came from Marc Williams. So,
Oh, okay.
first name, Cameron Jackson. Then we got Matt Cavey and Jason Atlas.
Jason Atlas, I don't know him personally, but Jason Atlas was on your podcast, correct?
He's been on a couple times, yes.
He is the one that said if he sees Marc Williams in person, he's going to beat the shit out of him.
Correct.
And I, if you recall, had a big problem with that.
Yes, indeed.
But, you know, being on your podcast now, he seemed as, you know, he is welcoming me to King of the Yard. So that there's a mixed emotion there. But, oh, man. Cameron, Cavey, Atlas. Job, fired, push. Well, Matt Cavey hasn't been in a ring ever.
Right?
He also hasn't wrestled in years. So I'm going to have to fire Matt Cavey.
Okay.
Oh, shit, man. Cameron Jackson has done so many shitty things to us that I would not want to push him. But at the same time, Jason Atlas just threatened my best friend. Oh, man, I'll say job. I'll say job Cameron, push Atlas.
Okay.
Until Cameron proves me otherwise, and then we'll flip those.
All right. So is there anything you want to say about the podcast we had recently where Eli actually was on the show?
That was the VTW story.
Yes, among others.
Yeah. No, honestly, you know, he came out, he told what happened. It really was his unbiased, you know, it was him as a person talking. It was not Marc Williams.
Right.
So honestly, I have nothing to say about it, but everything he said was 2 words that are always seeming to come out of my mouth. Tony, what are those?
I would imagine those 2 words would be big facts.
Yes, indeed, Tony.
Mr. Awesome says Matt Cavey's firing it up already at Papa John's.
Jesus Christ, Mr. Awesome. You guys always got something to say.
Right. That's a good thing. All right. So who do you think, once Thursday is done, Last Man Standing's done, who do you think will be next in line that you'd want to crack at in BCW once you're done with H2?
Ooh, who's next?
Who's left? Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Goldberg. Who's next? I would, if I could have it my way, I would have it Jason Page versus Mike Miller, the rematch. If Mike Miller loses, his briefcase is gone because what's the need if he beats me. He doesn't need it anymore.
Right.
So if he really is better than me, like he thinks, why not put that stipulation out there? Other than that, man, I would like a match with Tommy Zachary if he came over from NWF and he would recover. I think that would be a good match. I said Jack Brown needs to know his role and build his way up to me, but I think me versus Jack Brown could put on a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would probably be my top 3.
All right. So, is there anybody from any of these other companies that you might watch or have heard of that you'd like to step in there with that you haven't had a chance to?
From other companies, my number 1 would probably be Drew Hood, just because he seems like the same type of person I am, like actual person-wise, not kayfabe-wise. I believe me and Drew Hood could tear the house down. I would like American Outlaws versus Drew Hood and Cameron Jackson. I would like to finally have the opportunity to kick Cameron Jackson's teeth down his throat.
Right.
Another one probably. Of course, I'm gonna exclude NWF because we kind of have availability to them.
Right.
I would say Navon McDonald would be another one I'd like to step in the ring with. I would say Lips just because I wanna retire him because I think he's weird and a waste of oxygen.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna put Lips up there because I don't want to put myself in a shitty situation.
Right.
Everett Creed though, I think I could tear the house down with Everett Creed. But yeah, I'd go top 3 would be me and Drew Hood, me versus Navon McDonald, and then American Outlaws versus what do they call them, the FTC or something?
FTC, yeah. Follow that crew.
Oh yeah, or Murder Club. That'd be another good one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Yankee?
Yeah, Yankee and Marc Williams. That's more their battle. I like to focus on myself, but if Yankee brought his buddies, I'm sure the American Outlaws would run through them.
That'd be quite interesting to see Yankee and Rick Rios and TJ Sakara maybe come up and their crack at the Outlaws.
Yeah, we got a third man now. They're welcome anytime. We welcome people to come up and experience new talent.
Right. All right. We'll talk about that company. Is there anything else you want to touch on from any part of your career that we didn't get a chance to at the moment?
No, I just think looking early on in my career to where I am now, my moveset and my talent have really skyrocketed for the better. I think as Eric Reigns, I was pretty bland. I had a Strowman running power slam as my finisher. Like I said, trying to be the powerhouse.
Right.
And now I have a cutter that I like to call the FYP, reminding everybody that they're just a pussy. But yeah, that's about it. I think my talent is undeniable. I believe it was Drew Hood said that I'm very marketable. So
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's about it.
So you mentioned you feel that you and Jacob Riley pretty much was the best match that you've had in BCW. Do you think you could list 2 more and list your top 3 matches that you've had so far?
Oh, yeah. I would go me versus Jacob Riley And
Wow.
that's very wow, Mr. Yeah, so me versus Jacob Riley. I'd go me versus Marc Williams at Summer Bash of last year. And can we do tag teams too, or just singles?
Yeah, you can do whichever way you want.
I'd go When Worlds Collide pay-per-view, even though, again, it was a screwy ending.
You know, he asked me this last week, and I told him he'd have to wait till this week if he remembered to ask it. So I guess I got to answer the question for him.
Yeah, let's
pop up there. So Mark asks who my top 5 Great Lakes wrestlers are of today. And I'll mention definitely you two would be up there, you and Marc Williams. H2 would be in there as well, whether you guys like him or not. And then Tommy Zachary would have to be in there. Damn, the 5th one's the hardest one to put, though. Honestly, it was AJ before he got injured, so. Past that, I guess. Not gonna like it. I'd have to put Jack Brown in there because I've been so impressed by the things that he's done, even if he doesn't have that great of a win-loss record. So
that's bold. He doesn't have the best resume.
All right.
So in order, was that your order, or were you just listing them off?
I just listed them all.
Let's hear the order.
You got to do that, don't you?
Mark, you might not like this one.
Mark Knight, you're right. Number 5 would have to be Jack Brown. He's just barely in there. So 4 would be. Ooh, that's tough. I think they both go in there, 4 and 3. I think it'd have to be, though, Tommy Zachary would have to be 4. Mark would be number 3.
Ooh.
So number 2 would be H2, and then I have to put you at number 1 because I think you're the most athletically gifted guy in the Midwest, to be honest. So
I appreciate it, Tony.
Thanks to you too.
Yes, sir.
It's not just because I got you on here; it's just the way I feel about it. So
completely. I completely understand.
And that would be pretty much a little bit of the reason why I told him he'd have to wait till this week to find out the answer to that. So because I knew what order I'd put top 3. So there you go.
Gotcha.
All right.
It's not easy being the best, Tony, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So you said you'd like a match with Navon McDonald. What do you think of his alter ego or his father, Novin?
Novin.
The Last Emotion.
Yeah, The Last Emotion. What do I think of him? I think it's almost like a Finn and Demon Finn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just another alter ego, in my opinion. I see alter egos that they're just the same man, you know. They just change their name or add a little something extra. So personally, Navon, you bring them in front of me, and I would happily go through with that.
There you go. Just had to ask.
All right, I understand.
Who would you say, pro wrestling wise, are influences towards different aspects of your character, whether it be as aspects of your character or moveset wise?
Well, moveset wise, I think you can definitely see a little bit of Finn Balor.
Yeah.
With I like to do my jump over the rope and my kicks off the ropes. Obviously, finisher wise, it would be Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton actually plays a really, really big idol when it comes to my movesets.
Yeah.
I like to, when I have someone on the ground, I like to slowly, methodically pick them apart, make them feel pain in every part of their body, let alone my finisher is a cutter. But I do it better. Which could, that's debatable. I'll give Orton that. But
I'll say we've seen better versions of it than yours so far, but that's helpful from other guys jumping off top rope too. So
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'd go Orton and Balor. I like a lot of AJ Styles when he was heel. Really, really buying into yourself. He says, I am phenomenal. Nobody else can argue that because he really is. He is untouchable. Tony, it says so on your shirt.
it does.
But yeah, I would go those three. AJ personally is one of them, and then Finn Balor mixed with a lot of Randy Orton.
All right. There's a reason why JR says AJ Styles is the best in the business today. So
Right, because he is phenomenal.
That he is. All right. I'm going to go over a couple questions I may have asked last week, but I think they're good questions to ask a lot of people.
Okay.
So, a lot of times I get this question sent to me to ask people, so I'll ask it. Favorite Royal Rumble match of all time?
Favorite Royal Rumble? I'd go 06.
Nice. Any specific reason why that one?
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
I was a big Ray guy when I was little, and seeing him win from one was pretty sweet.
2.
Oh, was he 2?
He was number 2 in that one, yeah.
I stand corrected. Oh yeah, that's right, he was.
And he did have the record for the longest appearance in a Royal Rumble until this past Friday. So
Yeah, Daniel Bryan.
Right. All right. If you could resurrect one person from wrestling to come back for one more WrestleMania match, who would it be and why?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
If I could resurrect one wrestler, it'd be Chris Benoit. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you probably do, but Chris Benoit, that was the only job that he ever had.
Yep.
I think anytime you heard Chris Benoit's music hit, if you were there getting a drink, that was the type of moment you would drop everything you're doing and run in the curtain and see what's gonna happen.
Right.
I believe Chris Benoit was one of the greatest to ever do it. It really is a tragedy the way that everything ended, and especially his reputation now. But yeah, I would go Chris Benoit just because he has undeniable talent.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Last week, Busta Boy said it was Eddie Guerrero for him, and either one of those two choices are good choices in my opinion.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero would be a really good one too.
The matches that guy could put on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Latino Heat.
Well, a worst customer service story that, as a customer or an employee, that you've ever encountered?
Worst customer service.
Yep.
Steak and Shake. If Marc Williams is watching right now, he can vouch for me that Steak and Shake, there's a guy, I don't remember his name, but if he's not working, the service sucks. We'll put it this way: me and 2 buddies from high school, which one of them was Jacob Riley, after a stupid techno dance in high school, we went to Steak and Shake, sat down. Later, after we sat down, we got a cup of water, and then it took about 45 minutes, and we decided we were sick of waiting, so we got up and left.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't blame you for that one.
Yeah, they're pretty atrocious over there.
Gotcha. All right. The comment section is being quiet for the most part, other than Mr. Awesome says knew it about the Chris Benoit answer. See if they got any other questions or comments they want to put in there. What are some other hobbies that you have besides wrestling?
Hobbies. I still play baseball. We'll always get a group of friends around, play some football. Pretty much anything athletic wise, we all do. Hobbies, man. That's pretty much it. Just we're Fortnite too. I guess you could put that as a hobby. Big Fortnite guys. So you a Fortnite guy, Tony?
I am not.
Ooh, okay, that's respectable. I wasn't either at first, and then Mark got me hooked on it. So.
I've never played it, so.
Oh wow, you need to give it a shot.
Maybe.
Yeah, PlayStation or Xbox?
PS4.
PS4. Oh, why are we not friends?
I don't have any friends on there right now. The only thing I play on there is WWE games, and I don't play it that often. So.
Gotcha. All right, that's fair. Yeah. Mark is definitely watching because he put Fortnite in all caps.
Yep, that is. I'm surprised he didn't say anything about the answer to that question he had, but.
Yeah, I know. Mark's not even vouching for me that Steak and Shake service sucks.
Yeah, that too. Tells me to get Fortnite. Maybe. We'll see. Gotta have a little extra money for. Oh. But anyway. Speaking of money, you mentioned King of the Yard. It's something actually I'm hoping to attend this year too, but we'll see. Depends on the way things go.
Right.
So I've never been there, and they want me there. Steak and Shake service is a disgrace to America. Mark chimes in finally.
There you go. He's vouching for me.
I've been to a couple Steak and Shakes. Haven't had any issues with them, but.
Oh yeah, come to Toledo, buddy. you'll experience something.
Sounds that way. Sounds that way indeed. All right. Been watching when douchers aren't washing their cars. There you go.
Gotcha.
Mark says.
Is he? Mark, you still at work? I'm sure he'll respond. But here, I got a question for you, Tony.
Shoot.
All right. If you could see, you can pick anybody in America in BYW. If you could put 6 people in, we'll say, an elimination chamber.
You're shooting my own on me. Gotcha.
Yeah. I feel like this is like deja vu for you. So if you could put any 6 people in there in BYW, who would you put?
Damn, I was kind of expecting that type of question when I was on Atlas Talks Wrestling a few weeks ago. But no, that would be tough to choose 6 guys. Let me throw out. It'd probably be guys from many different companies, 6 different companies, pretty much. Devon McDonald would definitely be in there. Cameron Jackson, you. There's actually going to be a couple guys from VTW because the other person would have to be Zach Daniels because everybody knows I'm a big Zach Daniels fan. What else to throw in there? Probably throw in Mr. Judgment because I think he would be interesting to have in there. And then let's put in H2.
God, what is it with you and H2? Hey,
I have a lot to thank that guy for, so he's the one that offered me the chance to come to my first backyard wrestling show, and he's helped me out with this a lot too. So
as long as you keep displaying big facts, I guess we won't have a big deal.
Okay.
All right.
No, yeah, I think those would have to be my 6 guys in there.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair 6. Jason Page would probably win, but that's besides the point.
Very good possibility. Yeah. Now I'm going to flip it a little bit. I usually ask who you'd like to face, but who are some guys that you really don't care to see come to Michigan if they ever had the opportunity to, or you thought there would be a chance for them to?
People who I don't care. Oh man, this could create some heat. Well, I said I would like to face him just because of all the shits that the shit that's happened. But honestly, I don't care if Cameron Jackson makes the trip. If he would, I would love to beat the holy hell out of him.
Right.
Other people I don't care would probably guys like TJ Sakara. I don't care if he would come. Would you agree with me that Zach Daniels is riding kind of high?
Yeah, I guess in a way.
Okay,
I think he had a big problem with some things that Mark said, or Eli said, on here.
And let me go out by saying I don't care if he would come. Honestly, we'll put it this way: if you take all of them and you put them all in a group, I don't care if they all come. Honestly, honest opinion. But Drew Hood is the one guy that sticks out, because if Drew Hood made the trip, I would have to tear the house down with him. But other than that, just because Drew Hood, I've never had any bad encounters with him personally. He's always said, I'm a freak athlete, yada yada, feeding my own ego, and so yeah, he'd probably be the only one that I really would care to make the trip.
Fair enough. I just had to see what the answer would be to that one. So.
Right.
Got to bring a little controversy in there.
Yeah.
No, what one wise man once said, so. Might not be cash, but still.
Right.
This doesn't have to be WWE-wise, but who are some guys, pro-wise, that you would like to get a chance to step in the ring with?
Well, I'll shoot down WWE, and then I'll go Indies.
Sure.
We'll go AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins. I would say Bobby Lashley, but I feel like Bobby Lashley would make me look like a toothpick.
Right.
So I might stay away from Bobby Lashley, although I have been a big fan of his since I was really, really, really little. John Cena, just because he's the GOAT, which is debatable, I assume. Could say Ric Flair.
An argument from me, but
right. Which, by the way, we'll come back to that. Indies, we'll say Kenny Omega definitely. I would like to have a tag team match against the Young Bucks. I'd go Okada. Okada would be sweet. Definitely Will Ospreay. And, I forgot Ricochet. Ricochet's in NXT. Definitely Ricochet. Huge Ricochet fan.
Nice.
So those would probably be my top ones. But going back to Cena, what did you think of the Cena versus Taker match?
I was surprised. I won't bash on it as much as a lot of people do, because in a way I feel like that was what needed to be done for the storyline that they're going with, and we all know Taker can't go a long match really without getting injured nowadays. So, and I think it might lead into a rematch between them next year, but we'll see. So.
That's fair.
And I will also mention off of that, since you mentioned Undertaker and Cena, Undertaker and Rusev put on a pretty good casket match this past Friday night as well. So
yeah, that's true.
It was longer and it was a better match for Taker than what him and Cena put on.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish the Cena match would have, you got a 16-time champ and then you got the Undertaker.
Yeah, I wanted more from it. But.
Yeah, you need more than just like 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we might get that, like I said, who knows? We
Yeah.
might have a match in a retirement match. You never know.
Right.
But off of that, what do you think of what they've been doing with Bobby Lashley, even for that matter?
Ooh, I just brought this up earlier today. I hate it.
Me too.
Dude, you got this guy who looks like he's been in prison for 15 years just straight doing pull-ups and push-ups and bench press all day, every day.
Yep.
He's a freak athlete. He looks like a true wrestler, which he was, and I mean, he still is. But, dude, Strowman is so over.
Yep.
Lashley can get over. You know, everybody was hyped that he returned.
Right.
And now the way they're booking him, people are just kind of like, why do we care?
Exactly.
So, honestly, dude, nobody likes Roman. Either turn him heel or get him the fuck out of the main event picture. Put Strowman there.
Yep.
Take the title from Lesnar. You could set up Lashley versus Strowman. Have maybe Lashley go on a mid-card picture to prove himself, try to get really over with the fans. But, dude, putting him with Strowman makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, especially when they've been having Lashley take the brunt of the attack from everybody in these tag matches he's been in.
Right. Like, there's no reason that he should be taking beatings.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, all you got to do, I don't bring it up that often, but all you got to do is look back at TNA, his run in TNA.
right.
They booked Lashley perfectly, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. I thought in TNA he really established himself. And now in WWE, you got Strowman, Strowman, I'm convinced, is one of the greatest things to ever happen to wrestling. Strowman's great. I love Strowman. Which I would love to have a match with Strowman if that was ever possible, but I feel like even though it's kayfabe, he would actually scare me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hate at Backlash, it's Lashley and Strowman versus Zayn and Owens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's so dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
In a way, I'm kind of hoping it'll lead into a Lashley turn on Strowman, but who knows?
I would be perfectly fine if Lashley turned heel. You know, so, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, that's for sure. But anyway, the last things you want to mention your career-wise in backyard wrestling before we close this one out?
Career-wise, just want everybody to know that I am not even at the top of my game right now. You know, we've been in the ring on YouTube probably, you know, not as often as other people have been, or as much as we should be. I'm still figuring some things out, and I feel like I'm learning at a very fast pace. I feel like once I'm at the top of my game, nobody will be able to keep up with me, and that's my honest opinion. Like I said, if people can do what I can do, that's fine, but I know I can do it better. God, Lashley's going to I hate Mr. Austin. Son of a bitch. That would be a good heel turn, though. Spear Nicholas. So.
My thing that was always saying Lashley should have debuted or returned at WrestleMania and been the partner instead of Nicholas, but that's my.
Right.
That's,
you know, I completely agree. I think it would have saved the show for sure.
right.
I feel like compared to TakeOver, it was bad news.
Yeah, well, takeovers usually are better than the main card anyways.
Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah, my career, once I'm at the top, look out. If anybody wants a match against me, wants me to come to them, let me know when. But I can promise you big things are going to be happening in BCW. So that's all I'll say.
All right. I will vouch for this. May have only seen you wrestle in person once, but from seeing you on YouTube, I can tell a lot of improvement from earlier on to now, and each time we see you on TV, so or on the screen.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So if you guys got any last questions or comments, get them in the comment section here real quick. I'm going to plug away a little here. Mention again, Last Man Standing will be up on the BCW channel this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Live with the main event of H2 versus Jason Page, Last Man Standing match for the BCW Championship. First plug. Second one, next time you see Tiger Talks Wrestling will be this upcoming Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as I'll go prime time with the currently injured, Tommy Zachary, who will be, of course, one half of your opponents at One World's Collide 2.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that podcast will be really exciting, Tony. I'm looking forward to watching.
We've tried twice already, and things have happened on his end to not end up being able to do the show. So he promises this time will happen.
So he's pulling a little East Coast. I mean, I didn't just say that.
Wow. That's right. But yeah. Beyond that, that'll be it for this week from me. Next week, I don't know what I'm doing yet. So haven't talked to anybody. And I also seen UWE's going to have a couple different things posted next week. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Oh, I can mention a couple guys who have been between NWF and BCW want to get on this show, though.
Oh.
Mikey Nitro, first of all, has said at one point a couple different times that he wants to be on. He's just waiting to get clearance to be able to be, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that'd be interesting. I'd like to see what he has to say about his lengthy title reign and if he actually has bragging rights like I do.
Right. And I just recently got hit up on Instagram, actually, a couple days ago. The Wicked Carney wants to be on the show, too, so we'll see if that happens at any point in the near future.
Oh, God. I'll keep my mouth shut about him.
Okay. I'll leave it at that for you, then.
All right.
But beyond that, I'll also plug, I know, I think it's about a week from this weekend, I think, is when NWF Adrenaline is supposed to be returning with their shows, so we'll see what happens there as well.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be some exciting stuff.
I've heard there's a few exciting things going to happen, but I'll leave it at that because I'm not going to say anything else about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can concur with you.
I've been spoiled about a couple things. But that's all I can say. Beyond that, yeah, they're being quiet still in the comment section, so I'll give you your last chance. Any last things you want to say as we close out?
I just want to make sure, I'm sure, you're gonna close down the show saying, I'm Tony with Tiger Talks, do your thing. I just ask you end the show on 2 words.
I can do that.
Okay, perfect. You may proceed, sir.
All right. Okay. Forgot to plug some, and we'll get into that word there in a second that Mr. Awesome says. So he's jumping the gun on us, jumping the gun a little.
Always.
Yeah. As for that, this has been Tiger Talks Wrestling. That's the current 406-day reigning, defending, undisputed BCW World Heavyweight Champion, Jason Page. Thank you again for coming on. Been a blast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yep, it was fun to get you on for the first time by yourself. Let's put it that way. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yes. Again, this has been Tiger Talks Wrestling. I am Tony. We'll see you guys on Saturday night. Make sure you tune in because I'm sure Tommy will have a lot of things to say. With that, we're out of here. And that's just big facts.
Big facts.